All right, so I'm gonna go over me throwing a baseball, and the situation is pitching. I'm going through the windup. It's on flat ground. It's not on the mound, but pitchers are always practicing from flat ground, so I thought I'd do it this way. Um, so the pre-action. Uh, well, let's go over the mechanics first. So I have three main cues I think about when I'm throwing the baseball. The first, right there, let's pause it, is my scap retraction. So my scap, which is right here, kind of next to my shoulder blade, upper back, my upper right back. That's where I'm trying to retract my scap. That's going to give it some stretch, my arm some stretch, so it can, almost a slingshot forward. And now the second thing I'm going to think about is having my hips go forward. So as you can see here, my hips right here are starting to go forward, and I'm trying my best to keep my upper body closed, so my shoulders on the target as my hips go forward. That's going to create some separation, which is really going to create rotational force, and it's going to allow me to throw the ball harder. Right here, my shoulders are kind of closed, but I can definitely do a better job of that. But my hips are opening up. So this is just creating a ton of rotational force. And then the next thing I'm thinking about is letting my arm relax and lay back. So let's go to that. Back a little bit. So right here, my arm is almost like spiraling backwards, and all this, it's laying back here. So my hand is going to get down to here, and then as I'm ready to throw, it's going to release forward, and all that force I created with my scap retraction and my hip shoulder separation, it's just gonna my arm's gonna lay back, relax, and it's gonna slingshot forward. Just play back. All right, let's look at it from this angle too, second angle. And yeah, as you can see, that ball came out pretty well. Yep. All right, let's talk about mechanics from this side. So right here, I'm getting into my loading this back hip right here. Um, and then let's look at my scap retraction. Hands are separating, back a little bit. It's tough to see from that angle, but my hand is essentially going to go back here. My elbow's going to go back, retract my upper back, my scap. And I think from this angle, you can really see how my hips will open up. There we go. Yeah, right there. So back a little bit. So right here, I'm pretty close. And from here, my hips are just going to open slightly. See how my hips are opening. And ideally, I would keep the shoulder a little bit more closed, but I'm working on that. Let's go up a little bit. Yeah, see, shoulders are pretty neutral, which is good, and the hips are almost completely opened. So that's ideal right there. Then from here, arms. You can really see the arm lay back there. How it's almost my uh, my elbow and my hand are in line, almost parallel together with the ground, which is creating a lot of external rotation, which can allow me to, get more force, propel the ball forward. Arm spiraling through, good release. And now I want you to watch my front side here, so my lead leg. So when we load back on the back leg, we're creating tension, loading the force, but we're always going to have to stop that force at some point. So that's where the front leg comes in. It's going to absorb all the force from my whole body. It's essentially going to spiral it, bring it all the way up the chain to my arm. It's my hand. It's going to when I release the ball. So you're going to see my front leg start to stiffen out as as it's absorbing all the energy, which is good because if it stayed bent, then I wouldn't really be absorbing the energy well. It wouldn't transfer on my body. So yep, right there, front legs almost perfectly straight. Back legs coming up and around right here. Yep. And from there, the throw's pretty much finished, and I just see where it goes, and hopefully, if I do everything right, to strike. So now let's talk about the so that's the proper form, some cues. Let's talk about the pre-action. So how to set up sports action, mental prep. What am I looking to do? So pretty much when I'm pitching in games, I'm looking to first throw strikes, be accurate, but I'm also looking to throw the ball as far as I can because the harder you throw it, the harder it's going to be to hit. So that's pretty much what I'm thinking. I'm not trying to overthink it during the game. Like right now, we can think about it, but during the game, it's all already muscle memory. So the movement was physically necessary to complete this movement successfully in the game. So let's go back to the start of this one. So stance. Let's talk about stance. We want to be. Let's go right here. There. All right, that's a nice athletic stance. Knees are slightly bent. Not too bent 'cause I still have to. I'm gonna go up anyway, so I'm not trying to go down and up. But athletic right there. Eyes on the target. Um, and then we went over the movement. So basically, I'm gonna go through all my movement. So what's happening during the action. So I can move down the mound, create separation, get that arm lay back, release, front leg blocks. Yep, pretty good right there. Post action, what's happening after you complete this action. So um yeah, I'm gonna have to I don't want to be falling too far off to the side, but I'm also not I'm not I'm not too worried about. I know I have to field the ball if it comes to me, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm more worried about the pitching than the fielding. But definitely have to be ready. So right here, after this, I'm gonna have to be ready to field the ball. But then let's talk about after I throw. So after I throw, I'm always doing some kind of recovery, which is involves a lot of stuff. But the main things are different band exercises with my arm to strengthen those stabilizer muscles that were just worked pretty hard. Some external rotation to get my arm just internally rotate a lot and externally rotate a lot, but strengthening those external rotators is going to help my arm feel better and strengthen it for the next time I throw. And then just drinking a lot of water, eating the right foods, and sleeping, 8 to 10 hours is pretty good for me. That's going to help me recover. All right, let's talk about the muscles I use. So the main two muscles I'm using, like, to actually throw the ball are probably my my chest, my my pectorals, and my triceps. Those are the two that really stretch out and then release a lot of force in the throw. But I'm also using my hips. You can see right here, I really have a nice load in my hips. Um, I don't want that knee over my toe, which it is right now. It's something I can work on. I want that stacked over my heel, not my toe, because the heel's going to activate the glutes and the hamstrings, which are the big muscles in the legs. Um, but yeah, so I'm using my legs a lot. I'm using, um, my hip flexors and I work on mobility a lot. I'm going to use my hip flexors uh, and my T spine, the thoracic spine rotate mobility, just so I can rotate over that hip shoulder separation. Um, yeah, so that's it for that. And then lastly, how is this movement similar to other movements in the class? So it's going to be throwing of anything is used in a lot of sports. Um, javelin, football, tennis. The tennis serve is really similar to throwing. You have to create external rotation, and it's kind of the same movement except with a racket in your hand. Um, yeah, so it's going to translate to a lot. So if I can get good at this, like I've noticed my tennis serve has gotten faster. I can throw a football further and like more accurately because of how much I've been working on baseball. I'd be interested to see like throwing javelin, shot put. Shot put's not as comparable because it's more of a push than than like a throw, but you still have to activate muscles similar to a baseball throw because it's kind of the same movement, except the arm's not going to really rotate back. It's just going to push the ball forward. But yeah, that's my analysis on how I'm throwing. I'm hoping to get up to about 90 miles per hour soon, like on a max effort throw. But yeah, thanks for listening.